So we have the Giant Mouse GMF1 to test today. Straight through. Perfect, look at that. The board has already taken, if I do any other grip, this is the first grip. You don't actually, again, it's a fixed blade, so not much is gonna happen. Cool little sheath, cool little knife. Let's see how it does. So as always, we're gonna start with the cut test first. We have this piece of foil that I folded about 4 times. And all I'm doing here, just kind of this rocking motion, push down, seeing if it's gonna cut through that foil. Should do it no problem. Look at straight through. You know, the only thing I think that's gonna become a problem with this knife is how thin it is. We'll see if that becomes an issue. Also afraid with the mud test how slippery it's gonna be, but so far with this foil, it's hard to get a good grip on the knife. I know there's jimping right here, but that's not going to do well with this kind of cut. So we're going to try one more piece here, see if we can get a clean cut. There we go, look at that. Alright, so it did pretty well on the foil. Next we're going to go on to this ram board, just real thick piece of cardboard. Try to do these 4 cuts. Nope, not on those. Get better purchase on here. There we go. Those 3 other cuts did not go through at all. I wonder if I'm not putting enough pressure down. I was gonna try to put a lot of pressure on that tip. I didn't even want to go through. Just ripped it right off. That's not what I expected with this. So let's see if we do kind of these, well, I didn't even call them a push cut. It actually worked. Yeah, let's do a better piece here. Okay, see, yeah, the moment you get that angle just right, yeah, it's just gonna cut right through. I guess it's all about the angle. Not so good when it comes to cutting on the floor. Trying to put a lot of pressure towards that tip, but it just doesn't want to cut through. If I use that jimping, it's probably gonna be worse. Yeah. Can't even get a good hold here. Just kind of, some pieces want to fly off, but most of the time it's not. It's just going to cut kind of halfway, so not too happy with that. Let's go on to the dismembered 4-gallon container. This is just from previous tests, so it's just a thick plastic. And usually when you cut down these ridges, it's quite challenging, especially with a thicker knife. So we're gonna, oh, look at that, it just went straight through. It proved me wrong. There we go. Kind of went through there, straight through. Perfect, look at that. So pretty good there. Let's see if we can cut a little bit more. Now I'm just gonna try to puncture the knife through and then pull the plastic out. Only thing with this blade shape, it's not going to be the best for puncturing really anything. So, kind of made a hole there. There we go. Not the best at puncturing through, but once you get it through, slicing through there, no problem. Actually went through the plastic better than I expected. Very surprised on the ram board. Didn't go all the way through. Once you take those pieces, you can start slicing away on them. But if you do those floor cuts, it's not going to happen. And the foil actually did pretty well. So on to the tip test. I'm actually pretty excited to do the tip test on this one because of this blade shape. I really think it's going to do very well. Now, this board has already taken 2 knives. Oh, that was a huge chunk. Just tearing through this wood. That's awesome. That's a serious win for this GMF1. Let's get on to the mud test. All right, so we got the mud test. Just gonna make it a little bit more muddy. It's already pretty muddy, but it's drying up real quick in this heat. Since we got a fixed blade, and this is really gonna hurt me, we're gonna have to test it with the sheath. It's just such a nice sheath. But first we'll do it with just the knife. And unlike a folder, I'm obviously not seeing if, you know, the locking mechanism is gonna fail, because there is none. I'm just really seeing how comfortable it's gonna be in my hand when in this mud. And yep, it went from slippery to I can't even, I mean, I can kind of grab, no, there's no way. That is way too slick. Anytime I put any pressure on the spine of this knife, it's kicking forward, and I'm gonna grab it real tight. Look at that. I could just take it right out. Okay, this is tight. It's just slipping right out. Okay. If I do any other grip, let's see, reverse grip. You know, actually, reverse grip is not too bad. Wash it off real quick. Can't find the knife. Now, I'm gonna hate this, but we're gonna put it in the sheath, and we're gonna drop the sheath in the mud. This is, oof. That hurts me. It really hurts. Now, what I'm seeing here is, especially when I wash it off, is if there's gonna be any kind of drainage. Also, I'm gonna see if this knife is gonna get stuck in the sheath, or can I even get it out of the sheath once it's just caked in this mud. So I'll wash this hand off. Okay, so let's see. This should come out perfect, just fine. Go back in. Yep. It's a little bit, it's fighting me just a bit, but that's honestly to be expected because how much mud was caked in here. Even if we got it in kind of inside the sheath, I don't think it's gonna do it. And now let's wash it off. See how it looks after. Obviously it is a leather sheath. This is not going to be the best when it comes to all weather. Though as of right now, it's pretty fine. It's kind of hard to get this mud off, but it actually drained to my surprise. And you know, it's keeping the knife in there. Mud didn't clog it up. So pretty good. Pretty good for the sheath on the mud test. The knife, super slick, unless you're doing it in a reverse grip. So let's see how it does on the drop test. Okay. So now we're on to the drop test. Look at that. He got stuck. He got stuck to the sheath. Yeah, we're gonna drop it with the sheath too, but for right now, we're just gonna do the knife. First one's gonna be tipped down just about 6 feet. With the butt facing down, edge down, spine. Do the tip again around 6.5, almost 7 feet. I do it with the sheath, and I know there's, you know, mud caked in on here, so it actually may be better that the mud's in there. This is just to see if it's gonna hold the knife in place. Also around 6 feet. It's a little loose, but if I drop it, it's not gonna come out. If I put it upside down though, no, look at that. It's not gonna come out. That's pretty awesome. It's probably the mud, so that actually was a benefit for the drop test, but it's not gonna come out. And then in terms of damage from the drop test, obviously the sheath is fine. The knife, maybe a slight, not even, maybe just a slight bend in that tip, but not even. Spine's fine. Couple of scuffs on the butt end over here, and then the edge, well, the edge took a beating. There's a lot of chips in this section right here. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know if we can pick that up on camera, but there's a lot of chips just around right here. So besides this section right here and the tip, everything's fine. Obviously no cracks in the knife itself, so pretty good on the drop test. I gotta say, I was surprised, but not really impressed with this knife. In the cutting test, I mean, it did well. It went through the foil, no problem. In terms of that floor cut, absolutely not. It just really wasn't gonna happen just because of the blade shape. But once you got the material on the edge and at a good angle, sliced through like butter. So that's fine. Tip test, demolished. ate apart that wood. That was the first knife to actually do well on a tip test. Again, props to the design. So you have those pros and cons. You have a really sturdy tip, but you're not going to get that puncture, but you're not going to get that puncturability. We're going to say that's a word, puncturability with it because of how it's shaped. Go on to the mud test. Mud test, as expected. To be honest, I knew from the start that because of how thin this was and that there's no handle, it's just metal, it's gonna be super slick, and it was, but to my surprise, for some reason, the reverse grip, I would not consider this a tactical knife at all, but this reverse grip, super comfortable, even in the mud, it felt super secure, but any other grip, the pinch grip and with the thumb on top on that jimping, it would just kind of keep sliding out. But again, the reverse grip seemed perfectly fine. As far as the sheath goes, I mean, it's a leather sheath. It was beautiful. It's caked in mud now. I'm sure I can get this off and make it look like new again. I mean, really with any leather sheath, you get this wet and you keep your knife in there, there's some kind of corrosion is going to happen. But you could see how super flexible it is now because of how wet it was. You can see it's just going to kind of form into whatever shape you put it into. Always going to be with leather. It's kind of peeling out a little bit over here. Can't really bash that because it's a leather sheath, and that's just what's going to happen. And then we went on to the drop test, and I have to say, with the drop test, it sounded a lot worse just because it's just metal slamming concrete. Again, it's a fixed blade, so not much is going to happen when you drop it. I was really looking towards the edge and the tip of that knife. The tip held up pretty good, just like in the tip retention test. Nothing really happened by dropping it around 6 feet. Dropping around 6 feet. The edge itself, I'm just looking real closely here. The edge did kind of chip, but went through the drop test no problem. So that's a durability test on the Giant Mouse GMF1. If you guys have any suggestions on how to make these tests better or how to improve the tests that I already have, drop a comment below. Please give this video a big thumbs up, consider hitting that subscribe button, and until next time, stay safe out there.